Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the podcast from the birthplace of geocaching right here in the great Pacific Northwest. Now, it's Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific, and they called me Chris of the Northwest. And we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're consuming large quantities of green beer, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
All around, like 2πr and that kind of thing.
Ooh,
yeah.
Pi
Day. Happy Pi Day.
Pi or not
as we
square.
record this, it is Pi Day. So in honor of Pi Day, we're going to do the show 3.1415 minutes long, and then we're done.
We're already halfway through. Hey.
Or perhaps some multiple thereof. How about that?
How about 31.4 minutes?
Okay. Well, spring is just around the corner. I know we said that last week, but it's even closer this week. So tonight we're going to talk about going green and talking about the principles of leave no tres.
No tres?
No tres. Uno, dos, cuatro, no tres. We no speak tres. Anyway, live audience, I see the chat. It's just flying by there. They're all kind of taking care of things already. Just chat amongst yourselves. Why don't you?
They're going to anyway.
They're going to anyway. So
please, I'm glad we've built a community that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Please come and make use of it.
Yeah. So, hey, share your practical methods for going green in the Northwest. But as we are wont to do, we must first give you a little quick reminder. We appreciate the support of our patrons. They help keep this podcast coming, well, this week, last week, and every week for the foreseeable future. Special thanks to Land Sharks. They are one of our corporate Denali level sponsors. You can check out all of the geocaching goodness at landsharkswithaz.ca. And remember, they ship online orders daily, I am told. And for absolutely amazing adventures in Gold Country, go check out Gold Country Geotourism. You can visit exploregoldcountry.com and learn more about the geotour, the region, and all kinds of goodness up there. They even have a pretty cool app, so don't forget to download that. It's exploregoldcountry.com or facebook.com/exploregoldcountry. And if you, dear listener, would like to know more about the show and how to support it, click the Patreon link. It's on the cachingandw.com website, of course.
Of course it is. Of course it is. And folks, it's time for the glow. And don't forget that we need your glows. You got to send that. Oh, hey, wait, hold on. Let me turn off Gold Country there for a minute. It just kept flashing at me.
It does that.
But it's time for the glow. You may ask, what is a glow?
Okay, I'll humor you. What is a glow?
I thought you were going to tell me a joke.
What is a glow?
There we go. Look at that. Thank you, folks. A glow is the geocaching log of the week. So whether you read it or whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. You can send in an email or a recording of your very own voice to feedback@cachingandw.com. You can also use your very own voice and call into 253-693-TFTC and show us how you glow. You could also grab your friend's phone, dial that number, and make them talk to us. Here, talk to these people. It works.
What could go wrong with that plan?
I don't know. I don't think anything could ever go wrong.
I can't imagine. All right. Well, this week's glow is from a cache called Whalers Cove. That's GC5 Mike Delta Beta 2. It's found by the clever cachers because, clever cachers, they find caches.
Yes, they do.
And, it's going to take 3.14 minutes or longer to read this whole glow. It's a long one tonight. So let's see. Maybe we'll tag team it. It starts out, I apologize for this very late logged 13 months later, but I assure you that the wait is worth the tale being told. A Muggle friend of mine was meeting me in Bellevue for a training event, and we decided to meet ahead of time to introduce him to geocaching. I had taken mass transit to the Bellevue Transit Center and then went geocaching on foot while he drove his car to the training event and then walked to meet up with me. I found another geocache before he made it to town, and when he was eventually en route on foot, we chose this to be the cache at which to meet. I reached to this cache long before he did. I hunted for this cache for about 15 minutes before I saw a police car with 2 officers pull up a block away and park. I figured that if I stopped looking and left right away, that it would look just as suspicious as if I kept looking. So I kept looking. I found the nano cache a few minutes later on the cathodic protection rectifier, surprisingly via eyesight before touch. I signed the log and rehid the cache.
I have to admit, I have no idea what a cathodic protection rectifier is.
I'm not sure I know it off the top of my head, but I understand all the words.
Yes, but putting them together does not paint a mental picture for me.
I know that on some metal structures like suspension bridges and there's often a sacrificial cathode to attract the corrosion and whatnot. I wonder if it has something to do with that. But, the research department will probably come up with it soon enough.
There's a company that offers them, including air-cooled, oil-cooled, and explosion-proof of almost any voltage and current.
Okay, I was wondering if it had something to do with electrical transformers. So let's see. The log says, I started to walk toward the police car, which was in the direction I intended to go next. Right at that time, my muggle friend came walking into sight, holding his coffee. I waited for him to walk past the police car and reach me. We greeted each other, and I mentioned to him that the police car pulled up and parked during my search for the geocache, but that no one had approached me. Then I told him about the cache. I asked if he wanted to see it, and he did.
Oh.
We walked back to the cache location. I plucked it from its hiding place and showed it to him. We talked for a few, and I put it back in its hiding place, as you do.
Mm-hmm.
We proceeded to walk back in the direction from which he came. As we were passing the police car, both officers hopped out of the car. Immediately, a second police car pulled up behind the first, and that officer hopping out of his car as well. Now there were 3 police officers, 2 police cars, the 2 of us, and 1 nano cache hiding in fear on the cathodic protection rectifier.
You want me to take over for a bit?
Tell us about the cops here.
The young pup of an officer asked what we were doing, and I had mentioned geocaching and quickly summarized the game. Of course, my luck, he had never heard of it. Meanwhile, one of the other officers mumbled that he used to do geocaching, and the other officer mumbled a question asking if geocaching was still a thing. Deterred by responses of the older officers, the younger officer asked if I knew what was going on in Bellevue in the news. Neither of us knew where this was going and said no. Then he started ranting about prowlers stealing copper from electrical poles and boxes and asked if we knew anything about that going on in Bellevue. We answered no to that as well. Discouraged, he told us we needed to watch the news more. Of course, that will solve the problem, right?
Of course.
He asked for our identifications. When he saw that I was from Federal Way and not Bellevue, it was an instant red flag for him, suspiciously prowling and not from Bellevue. Fortunately, my muggle friend was from Bellevue, and that seemed to calm him down, albeit just a little. Still, it didn't prevent him from using his shoulder radio to radio our identification using NATO phonetic alphabet. I never heard my real name said using the NATO phonetic alphabet with such disgust. I'll let you pick up from here.
Oh, I NATO alphabet with disgust is such a great thing there.
I don't know how you do that, but
yeah. So when he was radioed back that we did not have any outstanding warrants, he seemed disappointed. We were let go and told not to steal any copper from Bellevue, and if any turned up missing, that they now knew our identifications. Apparently, it's okay to switch over to Redmond and steal copper there. I don't know.
That would be fine.
Yeah.
Bellevue police wouldn't care.
Okay. I'm sure that the 2 of us are now on yet another geocacher list for suspicious prowlers who are not stealing copper. What a way to introduce my muggle friend to geocaching. After we were out of sight of the two police cars, my muggle friend was surprisingly still interested in geocaching, so we cut early into a park where we found a tribute geocache, then gathered info for a multi-cache, and then found a puzzle final before arriving just in time for our training event. My muggle friend has not joined the geocaching community, nor has he geocached with me since, but we still talk about geocaching, and we still recall that shared encounter with the law. I'm grudgingly awarding a favorite point for this memorable story of my first and so far only geocaching run in with the law. I don't know that word. Yeah.
At first glance, I thought Hakuna Matata, but that's not even
No,
close.
it's like Makuikaya.
Yeah. I don't know what that means either.
I don't know. You
But
could probably Google that one as well.
I was going to say gas station tuna is quick on the Googles.
Very well.
The
Cathodic protection rectifiers. Yeah. They're the external power source used in impressed current cathodic protection systems, the ICCPs, to convert alternating current to direct current.
As soon as he mentioned ICCP, that really told me nothing.
Yeah. It's in the alphabet, later in the alphabet than CCCP, which, yeah.
CRS 98 says, should have shown them the nano.
Yeah, well, what if the nano was made of copper?
Oh, is there any copper in that nano? Well, I put it back. In case you wanted to know, the name Moku, oh boy, I'm no good at this. Kaua?
Haikaiwa? I
Akawa
don't know.
literally means district acquainted by war in the Hawaiian language.
Acquired by war.
Acquired by war, sorry.
Yeah.
Or whatever I said.
I'm sure you can acquaint yourselves with many districts, but it's the acquiring that really is important in a war. Anybody can just acquaint themselves with a district. But to acquire it, well, that requires a whole nother level of commitment.
And war.
Yeah.
And war. There you go. Thank you. Thank you for that. We've already passed our 3.14 minutes by several extra minutes. So we're just going to keep going on and talk about pie and no. Tonight we are talking about Leave No Trace. So I want you to use the hashtag green for tonight's show. And of course, use the hashtag FITAS to bring up anything in the after show. And folks, thank you so much for joining us tonight and for Googling words that, I pasted that in there. I read through it. Yep. It's like, okay, I'll get that later. And I never did. Never went back to do it. So thank you. This is fun. I enjoy things like this. Now, we do have some news from the traveling circus, otherwise known as the Monkeys. And this audio didn't come to me in the most pristine form. Okay, so bear with us as we play it. But I think you'll enjoy it nonetheless. So it's not of the best quality. Just put your best listening ears on, and I think you'll get the point. Let me know if I need to turn it up or down a bit. Of course, to the live audience, if you're listening afterwards, you get what you get. Sorry.
Yeah, you can yell at the podcast player all you want, but we won't hear you.
And please do. I encourage that. Here we go.
Hey guys, it is the Land Monkey. I am riding a bus with a whole bunch of geocaching friends. We thought it would be a perfect time to send a quick little update from some surprise guests. So hold on to your hats.
Hi Jim, Chris. This is Tease Toy and Henny Penny from Seattle, and we're here with Land Monkey on an incredible trip here in South America and Antarctica. As far as the highlights, I'd say one of my highlights was a kayak trip that we took in
Antarctica near Spurt Island.
It was so cool. We're going through these massive canyons, rock canyons, with icebergs floating all around. We went in this one canyon, and the iceberg broke loose and blocked our exit. So we had to go another way, and these icebergs were moving around. We ended up having to go through a narrow canyon about 20 feet wide and a 3-foot swell that took us back to the opening that we needed to get.
So we got to surf like penguins through the canyon.
And then I guess my next favorite was yesterday when we were
In Aguazu Falls Park.
Yeah, and they gave us a couple options as far as what boat to take. Either take the wet boat or the dry boat. And naturally, we took the wet boat, and they weren't kidding. They took that boat and they drove it virtually under the falls. We were all completely drenched head to toes. It felt so good considering it was at about 95 degrees down here. So far, so good. Looking forward to the rest of our trip. Talk to you soon.
Ta-ta.
Nice. I hope y'all heard that well enough. The audio was going in and out. I corrected it as best as I could.
That's great. I'm sure glad that they were from Seattle because, otherwise a passage 20 foot wide, Land Monkey would have no idea how big that is.
Exactly.
So,
And then they got to ride the swell like a penguin. I
yeah,
love that. Yeah. And have you been to Niagara Falls, Wits End?
I never have. No.
Okay, so you didn't ride Maid of the Mist. That's what I was thinking of.
Right.
They don't quite take it under the falls, but you get quite damp.
Yeah, sometimes Sue says, did they get video? Without video, it didn't happen.
That's right. It's just a story on bad audio. Who knows?
If I know a Land Monkey, there's probably video.
Yeah, that's true. And I think the poor audio quality adds to the adventure, like Indiana Jones style.
Yeah. CRS98 wants to know when the monkey is expected to return. As far as we know, he ain't never coming back. He's just going to geocache around the globe for the rest of eternity.
Yeah. How many Arctic expeditions didn't make it back? So I don't know. We don't know if the Land Monkey's coming back.
Yeah. But we figure he will eventually. I don't know if that was just curiosity or if he just can't stand to listen to just the two of us. But either way, he'll be back soon. Oh, but yeah, it's fun. Good to know that they're still out there kicking and having a good time. We wish them safe
and
travels.
meeting people from Seattle all over the world.
How about that? So Tease Toy and Henny Penny and Land Sharks, Land Monkey. I don't know who else is on the trip, but a splendid time is guaranteed for all, as they say. Coming back to, the Northwest. Oh, the return of the monkey has been prophesied for March of 2024. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends on how you read the tea leaves.
Yeah. Well, we are in March right now.
Or the TZ leaves.
Oh, the tease leaves.
Yeah. Tease leaves. There you go.
And tomorrow's the Ides of March, so you never know what's happened with that.
What is the Ides of March?
Go have a Caesar salad tomorrow.
Yes.
My friend Chris says, any salad can be a Caesar salad if
you stab it enough.
There you go.
I had a Caesar salad last night. Okay. So my timing was off. Sorry.
All right. Well, speaking of timing, you know what time it is?
No, do tell.
It is contest time.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Hey, listeners, viewers, do you want a chance to win great prizes and just by helping us out? It's easy. Here's how. Positive reviews on podcast hosting platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. Wherever you download the Caching the Northwest podcast, help us out enormously. Yes, it costs you some time and creativity, so let us reward you for your effort and support. Leave a helpful review on the service where you download the Caching in the Northwest podcast. Then share a screenshot or a link to review on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter with the contest hashtag I love CNW. And really, who doesn't? And maybe a little bit of why you love CNW, and you're automatically entered. You could say something like, my Thursday nights would be so much more fulfilling, but I have to spend them with these guys. I don't know. You could win a gift from Land Sharks or Tony's Coffee, both of which sound really amazing.
Yes, they do.
Yes, we would love to get your reviews. There's been a few of them already. There's still time to get yours in and secure your chance to win a gift and, help out some poor, unfortunate podcast hosts, just for a review a year. Or no, I don't know what the interval is. Anyway, thanks for considering that. And now let's jump into being green. It's not easy being green.
That's what I thought of, but I thought I can't do that, with, copyright stuff.
Yeah. I'm not going to sing anymore because that might really.
Yeah. Being the same color as the trees.
Having to spend each day the color of the leaves.
Leaves. That was it.
Sometimes I think it would be nicer. Let's start with the leave no trace principle. That's easily found at lnt.org if you want more information about that. I think it stands for Late Night Trivia.
Oh,
You can read all kind of trivia about leaving no trace.
I thought it was the last Ninja Turtle.
Linens and things, maybe.
Mm.
I don't know. Okay.
I suddenly come up blank, and I usually don't.
All right. Well, lnt.org has all kinds of, well, interesting things. They're training and education, research and science, and you can always partner with them. If you love the outdoors, well, you want to leave no trace so that the next person that comes along, they can enjoy the same outdoor experience that you had.
Exactly. Now, there are 7 principles. That's 7. Leave no trace principles. Now, with the promise of better weather coming and mega events in the future, let's talk about proper forest and camping etiquette.
Can you say just mega events? Doesn't have to be like mega events or something.
That's so much better than what I did. Yes. So excuse me, let me start over. With the promise of better weather and some mega events
Okay.
in the near future, let's talk about proper forest and camping etiquette. Is that better? Did that have more gravitas?
I was moved.
Well, thank you. Listeners, we need your real life methods to leave no trace in the outdoors. Tell us how you do it. We've got one here from GSM times 2. Says, by leaving a geocache, aren't we by default leaving a trace?
Unless it's a virtual.
Oh, you could leave a virtual. Yes, actually you are leaving a trace and you want others to come and explore, but couldn't that be the same as, documenting your trail on All Trails or any of the like the Washington Trail? Oh, what is that? Washington, boy, I suddenly forgot. Washington State Trail Association or some such. I can't come up with it. So, what you're doing is you're documenting your experience so other people can go enjoy it. But the first principle is to plan ahead and prepare. And if you've listened to this podcast for more than, I don't know, say 2 episodes, you're going to hear us say, plan ahead, prepare, right? We may use other terms to describe that as a number and a letter, the 10 essentials, the 3 T's. Plan ahead and prepare. Choose equipment and clothing for comfort and safety, right? Don't take cotton. Cotton is rotten. You guys are no good here. IHAM says, guaranteed way to leave no trace, stay inside.
That is generally the way I leave no trace.
But, you can still tell you've been in that room, right? So you're still leaving a trace, just, inside. And
just not on the outdoors.
Yeah. And there in the house, dress for comfort and safety. Maybe you can wear sweats at work today because you're working from home. That's okay.
I don't know. I've never worked from home.
One day. You've worked remote.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Also consider the weather. Thank you. The Washington Trails Association.
Oh, another 3-letter acronym. The WTA.org.
They're fantastic. They have a great app which will show you trails on the map on an overlay so you can see trails where you are. I've used it a time or 2 for large parks and that, and you know what? The cache says it's right over there, 500 feet, but I can't get there. So by using Washington Trails, now you can use Cachely or the geocaching app and load different maps and see the trails there and follow them rather than leaving a trace or a trail straight to the geocache.
That's right. And, as Starcacher responded, as long as you had permission for the hide and you pick up the container if you archive the cache, it is not leaving a trace.
You know what? I'll agree with that.
And Circle gets the square.
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, boy. Hey, consider the weather, the group size, and the terrain. Now, the group size is important because the more people you have, the more you have to consider the amount of possible waste, right? So bring more garbage
Mhm.
bags, right? You're going to need more food. You're going to need better medical supplies, all of this. And of course, the terrain, if you're going to go down by the river, having,
A van.
a van down by the river is never any good.
Okay.
Why did you do that to me? Uh,
You're
having
welcome.
mountain hiking gear isn't necessarily advantageous down at the river.
Hmm.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Why don't you take the next one?
Travel and camp on durable surfaces. Yeah, that tender moss that can take years to grow back. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah,
So
but
don't,
it's so nice to sleep on for the first hour until you compress it and then you're sleeping on the rocks.
as you were just describing the Washington Trails Association map
Mhm.
apps things, and you say, "Oh, it's right there. I can just go right there." The leave no trace philosophy says, "Don't make your own trails.
Mhm.
You can find the trail map, find a different way around, walk some rocks, get something a little more durable. So stay on established trails, established campsites." And we said dry grasses, snow. Of course, you can trample all that you want because it's going to be gone in a few months. And
Hopefully.
you should always protect any riparian areas by camping at least 200 feet from lakes and streams. In Canadian units, that's like 1,000 kilometers or something, but I don't know exactly how far. No, it's not that far.
Bryling
And
said,
remember, go ahead.
it depends on how much of a trail gets created to the cache, for the time that the cache is out in the wild. So,
Oh yeah, if you archive it and pick it up, and you're not leaving a trace, yeah, it it can create the urge, because not everybody's going to follow the leave no trace
mhm.
guidelines, sadly. But yeah, and their final sub tip on travel and camp on durable surfaces is to remember that good campsites are found, not made. Altering a site is really not necessary.
That's right. Yeah. So, don't get, I think we talk about that later, so I won't go into it now, but don't go out there and make your own chair and, I'm just going to cut down a tree because I want a stump right here, or I need a log.
Yeah,
Yeah, not cool, man.
cut down trees, skip and jump, not to impress wildflowers. Oh wait,
Speaking of disposing waste properly, when you're done with those wildflowers,
yeah,
yeah, in most location, burying human feces in the correct manner is the most effective method to meet these criteria. Solid human waste must be packed out from other places, such as narrow river canyons. The land management agencies can advise you on the specific rules for the area you plan to visit. Right. But yeah, you may have to carry it out,
hmm
or you can bury it. Hopefully there's some sort of sanitary disposal available to you. Toot, toot, toot. I saw it here earlier. Hang on. Just Carlos says, when we camp, we try to leave the area cleaner than when we arrived. So
Yeah.
you're doing your own little CETO. That's
Exactly.
camp in, trash out. I'm clever.
So clever. Brylang's leaving the Blackiehood.
Oh, bye, Brylang. We'll be better next month. Use toilet paper sparingly, and only use plain white, non-perfumed brands. Toilet paper must be disposed of properly. It should be either thoroughly buried in a cat hole or placed in plastic bags and packed out. So, yeah, there you go. GSM times 2. When do geocachers poop in the woods? Hopefully you will never know, because it's been taken care of properly.
Because they will leave no trace.
That's right.
Yes. And as a nod back to IHAM, another reason to stay inside.
I will not argue with you on that one. I don't think I've been camping anywhere they didn't have, a porta potty or a pit toilet, within a couple hundred yards.
Yeah.
I've never truly done that remote of camping. Maybe I'm missing out on something. Guys, tell me if I am.
You
Yeah.
are. I have. It's fun. It's a nice experience, but yes, it's more work, and
Mhm.
that was in my much younger days. And the opposite of packing out what you output or waste or use, if you find things there, leave them there. Consider the idea that good campsites are found and not made, as we mentioned. Don't dig trenches for your tent or construct a lean-to. I know that survival guide in the Scouts program when you were in the 3rd grade showed you how to build a lean-to and survive until the Rangers found you. But, you know, you shouldn't have listened to the guy on the riding lawnmower in the first place. Okay?
Now, I will say survival is different than camping.
It is. It
You know,
is.
if you truly need to survive, do what you need. But if you're just camping, then follow this. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt with saying.
No, it's a good point. I mean, I remember in school reading all these things about it's like, wow, when am I going to be out?
Yeah.
Going to need to survive like this. But anyway, you should avoid hammering nails into trees to hang things up, or hacking at those trees with hatchet saws, or tying tent guy lines to the trunks. If you girdle the tree, it's going to just strangle it and kill it. And, it's cool in the movies and the cartoons, but carving your initials into a tree, that's just big no. Don't do that. And, there's lots of pretty rocks out there.
Yes, there are. I'd like to take some home.
Yeah, leave them so somebody else can appreciate them too.
Okay. Can I just leave a note? Hey, this is at my house. Come see it.
You could, yeah, as long as you leave like bus fare and your address and maybe some money to pay the bus fare. No, anyway. Yeah, or you could take a picture of the pretty rock, print it out, leave the color print laying there where the rock. What? No, don't do that.
That's worse than taking the rock.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, we're kind of ornery tonight. Just Carlos says, recently I learned to walk through a puddle rather than around it, so not to step on foliage at the edge of the trail.
I did that when I was like 3 years old.
Well, I would jump in the puddle. I mean,
Yeah.
I aimed for the sucker. But Bryling says it also works better with a proper pair of waterproof boots.
Yes.
Yeah. So, there's a point there, right? We live in the Pacific Northwest. You guys may live somewhere else, but it's going to rain on those trails eventually, and there'll be puddles. And the idea is, we'll walk on the edge, go just outside the trail because, the puddle is in the trail where everybody's walked. They've worn a low spot there. So if we walk around it, well, then you end up making the trail wider.
Yeah. And as Bryling said, proper footwear makes all the difference there. Because if you went up there in your little, low cut sneakers, you're not going to want to step in that puddle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Seebeck Tribe. I appreciate her. She says, I always told my scouts to take pictures and leave the beauty for others to enjoy.
That's right.
We'll move on to the next topic.
Fire!
And I wanted to say back to this one. There was a thought I had and I lost it. It came back to me quickly. See, I'm not that old yet.
Okay.
My wife says there is no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing.
That's right.
Right. So make sure you get the proper clothing for the trek, the adventure you want to do. Okay. Enough of that. Let's go back on to fire. Fires versus stoves. The use of campfires, once a necessity for cooking and warmth, is steeped in history and tradition, isn't it though? Some people would not think of camping without a campfire, yet the natural appearance of many areas has been degraded by overuse of fires and increasing demand for firewood, right? So don't go out and hack down a tree just so you can get that campfire stuff, right? The campfire stuff,
Kindling.
That stuff you put in the campfire. Yeah. Kindling. Thank you. The development of lightweight, efficient camp stoves has encouraged a shift away from traditional fire for cooking. Stoves have become essential equipment for minimum impact camping. They are fast, flexible, and eliminate firewood availability as a concern in campsite selection. Stoves operate in almost any weather condition, and they leave no trace.
Leave no trace. And I have to say, if you're thinking, well, if firewood is hard to come up there, I'll just bring a bunch of wood from here into there. that's generally frowned upon because of all kinds of woodborne insects and other things. You'll see a lot of campgrounds will not allow you to bring in firewood from outside somewhere else. So,
Mhm. So, many campgrounds, once you get into August, September, will tell you open campfires are not allowed. You have to cook on
right.
a stove, right?
Yeah.
So, you know what? If you're going to go out, just prepare to have a stove.
Yep.
You're going to find it's a lot easier to control the heat and to cook a quality meal on a
Mhm.
stove over a campfire. Yeah, it's not as much fun to make your s'mores. I'll agree with you on that. But um, you know what? I think overall it's neater, cleaner, and you can put it at a convenient height that you're not bending over and getting smoke in your eyes to flip the eggs.
Yeah.
The best place to build a fire is within an existing fire ring in a well-placed campsite. Put out
Like,
fires with water, not dirt, and never leave a fire unattended.
that goes back to the found not made principle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See, the chat's busy. Star Cacher says many parks have rules that a cache must be within a certain number of feet from a trail. However, that actually causes geotrails. If they allowed them to be farther away, geocaches would get to ground zero by different paths. Maybe it's a possibility, yeah.
Mhm.
And Geo sometimes too, always quick with the comment response. He says, if I put a cache off the trail, I will use a pre-existing game trail to set the cache.
Mhm.
Because then that trampled foliage, it's the fault of the wildlife.
That's exactly right. Well, and then I wonder, I mean, if humans go there and leave their scent, do the animals still use that path? I'm sure
I'm
they
gonna
do.
guess no.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just a question I had that popped into the top of my head. So, you know what? From now on, I'll be quiet and not bring up these controversial questions.
Next little woodland creature I run across, I'll interview and ask them and let you know if I get him back.
Go ask the
You know,
squirrel.
there's lots of wildlife out there, and you need to respect that wildlife, by the way, is our next point. You can learn about wildlife through quiet observation. So, okay, I take it back. I'm not going to interview them and bother them. I'm going to observe them quietly because it says so right here in the Leave No Trace Guide. Don't disturb wildlife or plants just for a better look or for an interview to satisfy a podcast. You can observe them from a distance so they're not scared or forced to flee. Large groups of hikers, campers, geocachers, they often cause more damage to the environment and can disturb wildlife, so keep the group small. If you have a larger group, you break it up into smaller groups. That way you minimize the impact. And remember, you might see an animal out there that's sick or wounded and think, oh, I'm just going to go pick it up and take care of it and nurse it back to health, and then it will bond for life. And
And it will be my squishy.
that's
And then
right.
we'll call it squishy.
Sick and wounded animals often are going to lash out in anger at you. They don't trust you, and well, that's probably good. They could peck, they could scratch you, they could send you to the hospital. So, just best to know. If you really feel that they need attention, notify a park ranger or some official to take care of that. Human food also can be bad for animals, so store food securely and keep all your garbage and food scraps away from the animals. And hey, it says here bears do not like selfies. I'm going to
I
extend
don't
that
believe
to,
that's true.
yeah, I'm going to extend that out to like bison and Yellowstone also don't like selfies,
Moose?
and moose definitely out. Yeah, too many stories on the Darwin Awards YouTubes that people are, oh, I'll just go take, I'm going to put my toddler on top of this wild creature and take a picture. Isn't that going to
It'd
be
be so
cute?
cute.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Okay. Skookum bears. Yeah.
Says some bears don't mind selfies.
Okay. There are exceptions. So if the bear is very skookum,
It has to be very skookum.
yeah.
Yeah. Wet Coaster says, don't pet the fuzzy cows.
No, don't do that.
Speaking of, being quiet and not disturbing the animals, when we were camping, when my son was younger, we had oatmeal for breakfast and he was being very quiet as not to disturb anyone. So quiet that the squirrel did not mind coming right up to his bowl.
Yeah, they get very bold
Yes.
learning about human food there. Yeah.
So, when we saw that, we're like, no, you need to make some noise there.
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay in this case to scare the animal a little bit. Human food's not good for it.
Yeah.
And it needs to be shooed away.
Human food's not good for humans. Let's face it, most of
Well,
the human food in
foods
the
that
store.
humans eat
So,
now
yeah.
are really not good for humans.
No.
So even though I told him to shoo the squirrel away, let's be considerate of others. And I think we're talking about other humans, and I'm trying to make a segue into the next point. One of the most important components of outdoor ethics is to maintain courtesy towards other visitors. It helps everyone enjoy their outdoor experience. Many people come to the outdoors to listen to nature. Excessive noise, uncontrolled pets, and damaged surroundings take away from the natural appeal of outdoors. So I know we have all, gone geocaching, start hiking the trail, only to have somebody come up with a Bluetooth speaker on their backpack, blaring at full volume because they want to hear their own music. Thank you, Brylang. Do not listen to music on a speaker while hiking.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait till you're in camp at midnight.
Yeah, exactly.
Then blare it over. No.
Yeah, so then we can find you and, be courtesy,
Yes.
be courtesy, considerate to you. Yeah.
I will sick my fuzzy cow on you.
So, loud music. You know what? Wear headphones if that's what
Mhm.
you want to do. I want to go out and hear nature. I mean, just to be out walking a trail brings me peace and calm, and
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
And that's nice to go out and get a little
Mhm.
there's a Japanese term that I can't remember, a forest walk kind of thing.
Forest bathing.
Forest bathing, that's it. But it's also safety in numbers, and companionship is fun. So I also don't play music because I want to talk to my companions and
Right.
get to that way. So that's good.
And, if you're talking at a reasonable level, there's no problem with that. And that helps to keep the wild animals away. Of course, be considerate about the right of way on trails.
Mhm.
Now, I tend to let if I'm on a trail, I'm going to step over as much as I can for and I expect this for whoever's moving faster, right? If somebody's jogging, riding a bike, I'm going to get out of their way. You say gorist?
I don't know. Did
I
I say
might-
gorist?
I don't know. Forest is what we meant to say. I'm sure. But what about up and down? Do you, I tend to give right away to those coming down rather than those going up, because if I'm going up, honestly, I wouldn't mind the break.
I've always heard that, and I'm thinking more for vehicles that the person going up has the right of way, because sometimes it's really hard,
Mm.
especially if it's a truck
Oh,
pulling a
sure.
load or something, to get started again. So, but
Mhm.
I don't know if the same thing applies to foot traffic or not.
Tell
It's
us
a
what
good
you think,
question.
guys. What do you think? Going up or down? Which one should have the right of way? And GSM times 2, just to turn the screw a little tighter, says, "Can I carry a boombox if I'm listening to Caching in the Northwest podcast?"
Yes, as long as you plug headphones into it.
Exactly. I can't argue with that. Okay. Okay.
Oh, and just Carlo, yeah, that was just gonna say
Yeah.
that's another good point. Wearing headphones in the wilderness terrifies me for not being able to hear if something is approaching me. And I was the same way. Doesn't apply to the forest. It doesn't. I wasn't in the forest, but it was the same way commuting to Seattle downtown on the bus and
Mhm.
train and stuff. I wanted to know when some crazy person was running down the sidewalk about to jump on my back. So
Yeah, I don't mind, having music or podcasts on at low volume, but I'm not going to have noise cancellation turned on. I
Right.
want ambient sound around me. Same if you're riding a bike. Don't
Uh-huh.
put noise canceling headphones on when you can't hear cars.
Yeah.
And don't do that when you're driving as well. There you go.
By the
I've
way, Wet
said-
Coaster says I'm Canadian, so the other person always has the right of way.
What happens when two Canadians meet on a trail?
That's just it's a standoff.
For hours, they'll talk about who has the right of way.
Yeah, the Zax bypass was built in the Dr. Seuss book for that. And GSM times 2 confirms that the rule is to give way to the uphill traffic, but I like Chris's logic. I'll take the break.
Kitty Quest says, I've been taught that hikers going up have the right of way so they don't lose their momentum.
Yeah.
Theoretically, they're working harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. UDAC says up.
Yeah, they're definitely working harder than me because I'm sitting home on the couch.
Well, there's that. Also on any trail, dogs on a leash,
Yes.
right? I will say, even just walking here in town, I walk my dog on a leash because my dog doesn't get along well with other dogs,
Mm-hmm.
right? If your dog isn't on a leash and comes up to my dog, well, guess what? You've just got into the attack zone.
Yeah.
And that's on you, not on me, because I have my dog under control until your dog decides to break the cone of silence there around my animal, and it's not good. So keep your animal on a leash, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's friendly, oh, it's no problem. They obey. You know what? It may not be your dog's problem.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody else's dog's problems. So.
And always clean up after your pets. And I have to say, my pet peeve, it does not, I'm a kid, it helps somewhat, but it's just so annoying for you to clean up the dog waste, wrap it in a little plastic bag, and then leave the plastic bag sitting on the trail. Or even at the trailhead, a little pile. It's like, come on. Pack it out to some proper disposal location.
Mm-hmm. White Coaster says, clean up after your dog. Also, clean up after your horses as well. Horses are bigger. They can carry a lot of gear. You're going to need a lot of gear to clean up after your horses.
That's organic exhaust right there.
Yep, that's right. Let's see. GSM times 2. My experience is that with two dogs off leash or two dogs on leash are okay. The problem is when one is on and the other is off. Research here. Here are some main points of hiking etiquette. Hikers coming uphill have the right of way. If you're descending the trail, step aside and give space to the people climbing up.
Okay.
There you have it.
Now you know.
Yeah, Seabeck Tribe says, I do get Chris's thoughts for the break also. I don't mind taking a break every now and again.
Oh, man, when I'm hiking, I'll take all the breaks I can get.
Yeah. So there you go. 7 steps, 7 key points for leave no trace. Just, be considerate. And also at the geocache site, be considerate, right? Don't, throw down trash. Make sure that if anything fell out of the container, it goes back in, right? And hide it as well as you found it. Don't hide it significantly better than you found it or in a different spot than you found it. Okay. I did maintenance a couple of weeks ago. I had to find my own caches because they were not where I hid them. And both times they were just out in the open. I'm like, why? That's not where you got it from. So I have a magnetic cache that is underneath something. It was on the other side at eye level.
Oh,
no,
sure.
No, that's not where it belongs.
Well, it's easier to find there.
It is. It is definitely easier to find. It took me a little bit though, because I didn't look up there.
Yeah. Because it's not supposed to be there.
I looked to where it was supposed to be. So, folks, thank you so much. And I want to take a moment to thank Land Sharks and Gold Country Geotourism, our corporate Denali level sponsors. Landsharks.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online because they ship orders online daily. No, ship online orders daily. That's the order of the words that make the most sense and give you the most value. And for absolutely amazing geocaching adventures, check out exploregoldcountry.com. And folks, I also want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters. That's Land Sharks, Gold Country Geotourism, Groovy Owl, Cool Cow Cachers, and Cachely, the geocaching app. If you want to know more, about supporting the show, click that Patreon link somewhere on the cachingandw.com website.
Yeah, and we're giving people bonus content because this has been a lot longer than 10 pie.
Ooh, man, I could not do 10 pie. Well, maybe if they're little pies.
Yeah.
So we want to thank people like Wet Coaster,
And M-Nerve,
Flagman,
Gas Station Tuna,
Team Noltex,
Just Carlo,
Wino Seattle,
Just Finding Our Way,
BC Rockcrawler,
Seebeck Tribe,
Trexer,
GSM times 2,
Kid Vegas 19,
Alaro Brick,
Ari 5 4 3 2 1,
Mountain Bike,
geocaches,
Antaeus,
LG 9000,
Whidbey Island Gal,
Ackerdock,
Skyhawker,
Railroad,
B Pendragon,
GeoBirder,
Peach of Washington,
Kitty Quest,
Green Words,
JCar,
Nervous Energies,
Kev MacD,
GeoNav Pro,
Segehove,
Korsgat,
Limax,
Camp Clan,
You Talks to Rocks,
Boomer 365,
MC3 Cats,
UDAC,
Genies,
Logwork,
Subway Mark,
Doramore,
Butterfly Girl,
and CRS 98. So many of those people I saw in the chat tonight. That's great.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those people lately.
Oh,
Folks, thanks for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. So if you like the show, please click the Patreon link on the cachingandw.com website. Now, if you didn't like the show, let us know what you didn't like and what you want us to talk about. But if you like the vibe, please subscribe wherever you get your podcast and give us a review. It can win you fabulous prizes. Seriously, stop what you're doing right now, unless you're on the freeway, right? That's probably not a good choice, but get to the next exit, pull over, give us a review. You're going to win a prize. Now, if you were in a restaurant, you would tip. If you were in a live audience, you would clap. But since you're on a podcast, leave us a free, fast, fabulous, fantastic 5-star review. And of course, you can call 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask us a question, or help us clean up a trail any time of the day or night. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingandw.com. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for a live show and chat, whether that be Pacific Daylight Time or Pacific Standard Time. The show is produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulitz, Jay Kennedy, and Brian Lang. It's licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2024 by Chris Umfenauer. And folks, I ask you to stay tuned for
the after show.
The After Show.
Yeah, speaking of daylight saving and all, early in the chat, Just Finding Our Way said, "Good evening from Arizona. I'm sure glad to see you back on daylight saving time."
That's right. There's something about Arizona that I like, and parts of Indiana. It's difficult to deal with the rest of the country, but you don't have to do a thing. We did get a couple of photographications. CRS 98. I hit a milestone of, are you ready for this? 20,000 finds on caches I own. The milestone was from Mike Dog 360 on GC1.
Bravo Golf Whiskey Hotel.
It was the golf I was stumped on. I don't know why. Every now and again, I know most of the letters, and there's one I just can't think of.
I stumbled over Bravo earlier in the show, so you're good.
Bravo Golf Whiskey Hotel, Washington Geology and Earth Cache Challenge. 20,000 finds on caches he owns.
Yeah, how many caches do you own? Because I'm sure that's not like one cache.
Could be.
That's. I assume a cumulative total of all of the caches he owns.
And I wonder how he finds that out.
It's probably a GSAC macro for that.
I bet there is, because why wouldn't there be?
That's right.
Keats also says, going public on Saturday, a new episode on the YouTube channel. Part 1 of my adventures to Calgary, Alberta.
Wow. Olympics and all.
And gas station tuna hit 5,000 fines yesterday while caching in the desert. Is that the Northwest desert by chance?
Yeah. Komokino says congrats to gas station tuna.
Yeah. Big congrats.
And it's not for task, but podcast baking. Oh, boy, George William Henry, if you're the law enforcement officer. Podcast baking, the Camp Clan is baking Dutch apple pie for Pie Day.
I'll be over after the podcast.
There you
And
go.
if my wife is listening, I'm coming straight home.
Yeah, Kitty Quest says yum for the Dutch apple pie.
Thank you. Mojave. Mojave to you too.
Yeah, mahalo.
Oh, that's it. That's oh, Project GC under my profile stats hides.
Oh, well, there you go.
You know,
Learn
since
something new every night.
you know, I don't have enough cash. I wonder if that counts as events too. I'll have to go. Well, I didn't do a lot of the events under my name. I did them under another account, you know, so.
Then no.
Happened to note that I was close using the cache owner dashboard. Interesting. Well, there you go. Apparently there's a couple ways to do it. And folks, thank you for listening. And until next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.